They say life is gone in the blink of an eye, that it's so short that on that day all your desires, your memories, your ideas, and your will to live will be gone just like that. You know, people get old and things can change with time, so the only thing that matters now is the present, spending my time by your side. What matters now is the way I look at you. I just want this to last forever." These were the words of Alexei to his beloved Ivan. He held her arm tightly and said, "And so it will be. I just want you to know that no matter what happens, you will always have someone who will be there for you, because I will never leave you." At that time, it was the end of June 1941. Fear gripped many homes in Western Russia due to the unexpected German invasion. The event marked a turning point for the country. Many young people found themselves needing to fight to defend, above all, the most vulnerable, the elderly, children, and women. And among those brave young men was a boy of only 19 years old named Alexei Sokolov, who had recently become engaged to a young woman from his family. The town called were going to Smirnov. The love he felt for her was always the purest and most sincere. However, seeing her suffering up close, he didn't hesitate to enlist in the army. But what he didn't know was that this news would break Ivan's heart. That day, he arrived at the young woman's house excited and confessed that he had to travel the next day to fight and that he would do it for her because he didn't want anything bad to happen to her and, above all, for the people of his town. He promised to return and that his effort would be worth it. Ivan, a noble country girl, was speechless. Just the day before, she had been told that all that mattered was being by his side, and now she didn't understand. Besides, their marriage was near. Everything seemed so uncertain. That day, everything was confusing for her. Jose, having lost all understanding, began to demand, "Why did you do that? We're getting married soon. You can't do this to me." And each time, he spoke to her in a loud tone and with tears in his eyes. "I did it for us, for all the people," Alexei replied. Ivan slapped him. "Shut up! Don't say another word, please!" Alexei didn't expect that response and simply answered, "I thought she would be proud of me." The young woman simply told him, "It's not necessary to do this. You don't have to leave me." The boy told her that he would be traveling the next day and that he would like her to come and see him off. That day, two hearts wept in the darkness. No one could sleep. The next morning, Alex still had some of his clothes ready and left for the train station where several other young people had gathered. He would be traveling in an hour, and during that time, he waited for Ivana. However, she didn't arrive, and his heart broke at this fact. But there was no going back, and although it seemed absurd that two souls who love each other should separate, for Alexei it was important to go to the front because if he didn't fight and escape, his conscience wouldn't allow him to be at peace knowing what he was leaving behind. Finally, he arrived at the military base. Things weren't easy. He had hard training to be able to endure the time there. He learned to defend himself and attack, but every second his mind and heart were with Ivana. He missed her and began to write letters, but she didn't answer. He thought that perhaps the girl had stopped loving him, but that day, that thought changed. An unexpected letter from Ivan arrived. She read it. "I'm so sorry for how I spoke to you last time. I just didn't want to see you end up like this. It wasn't necessary to do this to make me proud, although I understand you do it for all the vulnerable people. You are my hero, and I haven't stopped loving you. As I told you that time, I would always be here for you, no matter what happens. I always will be." Alexei missed her, and suddenly her tears soaked the sheet of paper. They were tears of happiness at finally hearing from her, and that way they could communicate. Everything was fine until Alexei was seriously wounded one day while he was at the barracks. The enemy bombed the place. Unfortunately, Alexei had to be taken to the hospital. He was the only survivor. He was unconscious for a long time, and because of that, he didn't answer the letters that kept piling up, letters worried and empty. But when Alexei read the last letter, he felt as if a knife pierced his heart, for it read, "The enemy soldiers arrived in the village. I wrote to you. I don't know anything about you. I pray for you every day. Please come soon." Alexei had a bad premonition, took him on the first train back to the village, a place that now seemed like nothing but ruins. Sadly, it had still been attacked by the enemy, who were steadily gaining more territory. When he arrived at Ivana's house, he couldn't find her. She was no longer there. He learned that she and her grandmother, a local healer, had helped wounded Russian soldiers. However, the enemy found out and burned the house down, and as a result, that beautiful woman and her grandmother lost their lives helping those most in need. All the victims were taken to the local cemetery. Alex couldn't believe it. He fell to his knees and cried out goodbye because all his dreams of seeing her again had crumbled. Now, nothing remained for him. Life was no longer life. He went to the cemetery and didn't even know where he was. He wept for her for a long time. 4 years passed, and then the war ended. Alexei was wounded many times and consequently lost the use of his legs. He went to live in his parents' hometown. There, he made new friends, and one of them recommended he visit a healer who was very skilled at healing. Perhaps with their help he could walk again, hoping to return to his former life. He went to the place. It was a small house. He knocked on the door and someone immediately opened it. Standing before him was a woman with a veil covering her face. She stood there without saying a word, which caught the man's attention. Then he said, "Hello, I can't move my leg, miss, and I was advised to come here. My name is Alexei." Or she continued without saying a single word until suddenly she answered, "No, I can't help you. Please, leave." The woman's words discouraged Alexei. The man turned around, but his wheelchair tripped over a stone, causing him to fall to the ground. The woman immediately came to help. "Are you all right?" "Yes, this happens to me all the time, but don't worry, I've gotten used to the pain. Since I lost my girlfriend, there's no pain that compares." "Alex, she or someone else had this in mind. I'll try to ease your pain," the healer replied, and as she lifted it, the veil the young woman was wearing fell away. Alexei couldn't believe it. In front of him was a woman with a completely disfigured face, covered in burn scars. Soon she lowered her gaze in shame, and tears welled up in her eyes. "I never thought fate would bring us down again. I thought something bad had happened to you. You wrote and didn't reply, so I thought it would be better this way. I'm horrible. You must leave, Alex." He realized that she was Ivan. In that deep gaze that he would never forget, Alexei recognized her immediately. It was his beloved. Ivana touched his face with her hands and dried his tears. "Now I understand everything. To achieve this escape, I always thought you couldn't have died in that fire. I never stopped thinking about you. But what happened to your grandmother? She couldn't withstand the smoke. It was too suffocating. And because of how my face was left, I looked for a place where no one would recognize me. Here, to people, I'm just a simple healer. I wanted to do the same as my grandmother. Help whenever I could." The man hugged her tightly and said, "Now I understand why I didn't find you. I was ashamed of my appearance." The woman lowered her gaze, but they were going to stop, and she would always be the most beautiful woman in the world. "I'm sorry I didn't answer your letters. I was hospitalized. I'll never leave you again. If you want, let me be with you." And so, a year later, they returned to the young woman's village and together rebuilt their house. After a short time, they finally married and had the wedding of their dreams. That day, the woman remembered when Alexei told the priest he could kiss the bride. She was afraid to remove her veil. She didn't want anyone to see her face, but Alexei only caressed her cheeks. Placing her hands inside the veil, she was very grateful to Christ. Fortunately, the man received money from the government, and Ivana became better known as the new healer. After 2 years, the couple had their first child, whom they named Ivan, and a year later, their daughter Natasha was born. Everything was fine until the children started going to school. Suddenly, their classmates began to make fun of them, seeing that the father was like that and the mother was always like a veil hiding her face. "She must be very ugly," some said. "Yes, that's why she does it," others commented in front of the children. When they got home, the children blamed their parents. "Because of you, we are the laughingstock of everyone. Why can't you be normal like everyone else? I hate you." Those words broke Ivana and Alexei's hearts. However, that wasn't all. One day, while they were celebrating the mother's birthday with lunch, the girl asked, "Mom, why is your face burned?" "Dad, because you're an invalid." That question was unexpected. Alexei replied, "Daughter, your mother suffered an accident in a fire, and I, for helping to fight it, well, I think it would have been better if we were dead, don't you?" They believed that at night they would cry with sadness over the Excel spreadsheet and he would comfort her. "They are just children. Don't feel bad. They will soon grow up and understand." Time passed, and as I already know, and those little ones grow up and choose their own paths. Ivan had decided to go to the capital to study. "I must go, Dad, son. Aren't you going to wait for your mother to say goodbye?" "Don't worry. I will write to her when I arrive next year. I will wait for Anastasia." "Don't worry about me, son." The young man took his things and left. Time passed, and now they were both in the capital studying. They were very intelligent but ungrateful to their parents. They always received letters from them but never answered. One day, when the son finished his studies, the mother traveled with her husband to the city. The trip was too tiring for him, but they always dreamed of being there on his graduation day and even brought a suit. Alex made his own. In fact, he had sewing skills. But upon arriving, that dream crumbled, and Vania had rented an elegant suite and rejected her parents. Likewise, she didn't want them to come. "It's not necessary for you to accompany me. I'll go with my sister. You can come back with your dreams shattered." The grieving parents went home one day. The mother, crying, said, "Your father passed away today. Can you come and say goodbye?" "No, Mom, we're very busy." "We're sorry. We'll come by for him." And suddenly they hung up the phone. They didn't attend the funeral, nor did they go to comfort their grieving mother. Overwhelmed with sadness, that woman lost her life. 3 years later, a neighbor found her, and that day the phone rang again. "She's passed away," the neighbor said. The children didn't seem affected. "You'd better come and see your mother. Don't be ungrateful. They were wonderful parents to you. You're bad children." Those words didn't make the siblings attend their mother's funeral. Years passed. Finally, they decided to go to their parents' house. They thought it would be better to sell it, so they went. Everything was full of dust. There were cobwebs and other insects. It certainly reflected a very neglected place, so they decided to clean, fix, and get rid of the things that were no longer useful. That's how they found old photographs in some cardboard boxes, photos they had never seen before. Their mother, young, with her face without any scars, was truly beautiful, and their father, dressed as a soldier, receiving decorations upon leaving the army, really impressed them. The truth is, they didn't understand why they had never seen those photos before. They also found a box full of letters, and as they read them one by one, they discovered all the hardships their parents had gone through. They were the letters they wrote to each other during the war. But that wasn't all. While cleaning the closet in their late mother's bedroom, they noticed what appeared to be a secret entrance. There lay a staircase. Everything was dark, but that wasn't an impediment to entering, so they lit a lamp. Inside, they found Russian soldiers' clothing, deteriorated helmets, and weapons of war already in poor condition, even poorly prepared canned food and various pickles. But what caught their attention the most was what was on the walls and floor. Everything was stained with smoke, indicating that the place had been through a fire. This made them very sad since their mother had only told them that she suffered burns in a fire, and now they finally knew that this was where it happened. They burst into tears because they had never been shown this place, perhaps because neither of them liked to remember all those moments. In fact, after leaving the army, their father seemed to relive those traumatic times and acted strangely. Perhaps that's why he was so withdrawn and hid everything that brought back memories, avoiding talking about the past. And after Alexei's death, were they going to dust off the photos and the most important things to remember him again? Unfortunately, he couldn't bear the pain of losing him, and now everything was left outside for them to see, so that their children would understand what they had gone through. Upon discovering all this, both felt immense guilt for having been ashamed of their parents and decided it was best not to sell the house as it was the only memory they had of them. That same day, they went to the cemetery and asked their parents for forgiveness. Shortly after, they began renovating the house, and it eventually became a place to visit during vacations. Both siblings started their own families, but they still tried to spend as much time together as possible, and every time they came to town, they visited their parents with a bouquet of flowers. One day, while they were there, the grandchildren went out to play in the backyard, and upon returning, they said something that left the family stunned. "We saw a very beautiful woman accompanied by a soldier. She was looking towards the house." The man was smiling. At that moment, the siblings knew that their parents would always be there watching over them. There is no doubt that true love will always last for eternity. I hope this video has been helpful. If so, please give us a thumbs up, comment, and share. I am Gustav Ellis. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. By the way, I invite you to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already and activate the notification bell to receive our latest uploads. Until next time.